Today, investors prepare to kick off a major week of mega cap earnings. Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, all up in the days ahead. Here to discuss, Toney, founding managing partner of Plexo Capital. It's good to see you. There is a lot riding on this. That's probably the understatement of the year. Are they going to deliver? That's what I need to know.
We expect them to deliver. I think they're going to meet or beat. I would say, a lot of this has likely already been priced in by investors. We've got two dynamics at play here. Without question, a big push on some of these stocks has been around the excitement. I don't want to use the word hype, but let's use the word excitement around AI as a new platform. But when we look at the actual numbers and we look at what IT managers are spending money on, they're actually still driven by, cloud and cyber. I mean, that's really where a lot of this is heading. Gartner just released a report that confirms that. And I think Gartner is expecting generative AI to really start to become a significant factor for revenues around 25. But that doesn't stop the excitement around AI from being able to propel these stocks.
I think I heard you correctly just now, and you said you think that the good news is priced in at this point? Because, look, the Nasdaq's down over the last 3 months, right, since these last reports, about 7%. And a lot of these other stocks over the last 3 months, Apple's down almost 10%, Microsoft down 4%, Amazon's negative. Nvidia is negative. We know about Tesla, obviously, in the wake of their own results. But what about where the state of tech is right now going into these numbers?
Yeah, I think the state of tech is actually in firm positioning. When I think about how investors' behavior typically flows, we look at tech stocks historically to really be focused more on those investors looking for growth. But with the push, I would say both in the private and the public sector, use Meta as one example in their drive towards efficiency. A lot of these tech companies have been focused on profitability, so much so that I would say the tech investors today are joined by other investors that almost see big tech in particular, I would say the Magnificent Seven, almost as somewhat of a safe haven. And, I think when we look at the amount of the S&P that the Magnificent Seven comprise in terms of market value, so goes tech, so goes the S&P. And we need to see these companies meet or beat their earnings. Otherwise, we could see an unfortunate situation similar to what we saw with Tesla when those expectations were not quite met.
Who's going to knock it out of the park, and who would you be worried about out of these Magnificent Seven stocks, if anybody?
Yeah, well, look, I think without question, there's still a lot of excitement around Nvidia in particular, and we expect their revenues to grow significantly. I think they're going to beat earnings. And then I would also look to Meta. Meta has actually done a really good job in their push towards efficiency and navigating some of the headwinds that they faced earlier on with some of the privacy changes on the iPhone platform in particular. And then I would say, steady Eddie around, what we should expect from Microsoft and Google. Again, I go back to the fact that IT folks are still focused on cloud and cyber, and that's going to be a contributing factor. I would take a little bit of a lens and look into Apple, based on some of the news that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. There are some headwinds that Apple faces in China. China now accounts for about 24% of iPhone sales, taking that throne away from the United States, which is now at 21%. And when we look at the amount of competition coming from those local manufacturers in China on Android devices, Android is now, kind of taken that title away from iPhone for the smartphones. Couple that with the Chinese government basically telling their folks you can't use the iPhone. I think also just a little bit of a sluggish consumer demand in China as well, which is broad-based but definitely impacting smartphone sales. That's where I might take a look. We've seen the low-end iPhone 15 actually seeing discounts already, 15, 16% on that low-end model. So, I would definitely take a look. I would also look into the news around some of the manufacturing side, supply chain issues. Foxconn and the lens the Chinese government has under Foxconn right now based on some tax issues and land use issues.
Yeah, that's today's news, right? That's the news that came out today that had this stock negative. Now, like the rest of the NASDAQ, it's turned positive, though.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, but I think we should still take a look. We don't know how much that lens that the Chinese government is using to look into Foxconn's activities. I don't know how much that's going to impact the supply chain for Apple. Apple's done a great job of diversifying their supply chain to reduce their dependence and reliance on those activities that happen in China. But nonetheless, who knows? Investors never want to see those types of pressures.
Lo, we'll talk to you soon. I appreciate it very much. It's going to be an interesting week.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Lo Toney, Plexo Capital.